Hello, in this video we are going to do a little bit more enumeration with another tool, and we are going to be using Enum4Linux, and this one comes pre-installed in any Kali Linux machine or Parrot OS machine. So Enum4Linux, it's a tool for enumerating information for Windows and also the Samba system or SMB, and it attempts to offer similar functionality to the Enum exe. And it was written in Perl, if you wanted to know if it was Python or not. And here are the key features for Enum for Linux. It looks for our ID cycling, user listing of group membership information, share enumeration, detecting if the host is in a group, work group or domain, identifying remote operating system, and password policy retrieval as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So the only issue that I have with Enum is that I don't think there is an output. I don't think that you are able to basically save it, but we can save it ourselves. Let's go ahead and just do Enum for Linux. Let's go ahead and just run the help basically command. See if there is, there's not really, it's just get OS. So I don't think there's any save output. I don't think there is any. So what we are going to be running is, again, for Linux, and we want to specify the port 389. No, we don't need to specify the port. So we need to do specify the user. We're still going to be using IPsec. The password is password 12345, and the target 192.168.1.50. That 1.50 was that domain controller that we identified because it has Cabral port open. It also has LDAP port open. So let's go ahead and run that. And this one takes a little bit. So you can see it gives you a bunch of information over here. If we can scroll to the top, we can see we are using IPsec and the password. You can see looking up for the status of the 192.168.1.50. That's the name, the host name. We can see the SID, the domain SID. So this is good information. I haven't retrieved that from anywhere, so we can put that in cherry tree. Domain SID. So you can see I put it in here. Let me just put domain info, because we might need that later on. So we are saving it in here. Let's see if we find some other useful information. Server type, RID. So you can see that it's gathering all the domain users, hit items, and all that good stuff. You can see that it's also retrieving the description. As you can see, the password for Jenkins admin, which we got already by doing the auto script. Let's see what else we have in here. Here are the users. Here are, it was doing some share enumeration on this host. So as you can see over here, it found, let's see, it found this host. So this is the sys file. This is where all the group policies are stored. So then it was attempting to map the shares. We were denied for the C drive, so we don't have access to the C drive. IPC could not understand the response, but we were able to get to the sysvol and also the net logon. So this is some good information over here. We can copy it and paste it into the cherry tree. We can just say this over here. So we were able to map it. Found the domain. We already know the domain. We already got this information as well. The password, basically password policy. What else we have? Password complexity is enabled. The minimum is 7, the length of it. We can see all the groups in here. We already got this information, so we basically don't really need it. Then it was getting the group membership. So getting the local group memberships in here, getting domain groups. Here I got all the domain groups. Here getting the domain group membership as well. So you can see that we already got this information. Administrator is part of the domain admins. Jenkins, domain admins, Savitar, Adams, student 1, student 5, hidden. This is a group. So we can see it over here and the other groups. So really good information. We can see the SIDs, which I want to gather the SID for IPSec. Let's go ahead and copy this, put it in cherry tree because we might use it later whenever we want to do some ACLs attack. So basically here we're trying to like get like brute force basically. Okay, we can see the administrators, built-in administrators. Okay, and there you go. So that's all the information that we got. So let's see if we are able to, first let's go ahead and just create another directory in here and just call it data, cd into data. And then let's see if we can just put the Enum4Linux data.txt. Can we just save all that information in here? You should be able to do that, I believe. Let's go ahead and open a new tab and see if it is saving it. Yep, it is indeed saving it in there. We can just do a less enum4, not ls, less. Yep, so it is saving all the data in here. Cool, so we can just save that data in there. If we need to go back to it later for some reason, cherry tree, you never know what could happen with cherry tree, but we can have it saved in there. Closing that terminal, that's fine. Still working on that. Let's also see what other commands we could potentially run with Enum4Linux. We have the guest OS information. We could try to do that. Let's go ahead and see if it does at the end. It's still going to do everything else. I think we're just going to go for that, trying to get the OS information, but it just keeps running everything. It is a old script. It is a really old script, so that's why it doesn't work as it doesn't have output file and all that stuff. But it does give you a lot of good information that we could use. Like the SIDs, and what was the other one that we saw that we saved? It was the SID for the domain name or for the domain. That's really good information to have. So let's see if it's done. Yep, it is done. So now we can do a cat Enum4Linux data, and we can see it all in here. Awesome sauce. And so that is another tool that you could potentially use to do some domain enumeration. So this is all for this video.